Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here today. As I sit here and shoot this video, this is the day after my dad had a huge surgery. Just to back it up a little bit in case you don't know, he went to the emergency room late last week with chest pain. And as a result of that, they ended up figuring out that he would need a triple bypass, heart surgery, open heart surgery, and he would go to St. Louis for that. Very good place to be for heart surgery, actually. So he was there for a couple of days leading up to it, and then yesterday he had the surgery. It went really well. I'm so happy to report that to you now. So I am operating kind of out of a place of a lot of relief, knowing that like that happened yesterday afternoon and, you know, finished up into the evening hours. And then this morning he was talking to my mom on the phone like a totally normal situation, and it's just it baffles me that these kinds of things medically can happen. But something I kind of want to address here, like I had a really stressful day yesterday. Like it was really hard to get through the waiting, as I think anyone knows who has a loved one who's, you know, going into surgery, their lives being put into someone else's hands. Waiting through that is really difficult. And if it's a longer surgery like that, you know, you wait for the update, you wait for some, you know, positive news to come throughout. And fortunately, we were able to receive that. I know not everybody gets to have that. You know, things don't always go perfectly, but overall, it just was a stressful day to me. And then, you know, you move on to this day. And well, what do you do on this day? You know, like I was up kind of late and I was like just hanging on every word of any kind of info I received. But now I have this time where my kids are at school and I feel right to do something to get, I don't know, a little more normal feeling. And I feel like people pass so much judgment about the way other people cope with things. And I just want to get that out in the open for a second. I think that it might feel good for somebody to like lay on the couch and sleep for several more hours. It might feel good for somebody else to go out for a run. It might feel good for somebody else to go back to work. For me, my work and my home life are really, really intertwined. But for me, doing something like this feels therapeutic to me. It doesn't feel like, oh, gotta get back on the grind of, you know, doing a video or something. Like that's not what this is for me at all. If you've watched my videos for any amount of time, I may not be the best at makeup, but I love this as much as a person could possibly love this. And I love this community and you people who are watching so much. So anyway, the next time you notice somebody who has gone through something tough, let them be the decision maker on what feels right to, you know, get through that time. So anyway, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. I have a ton to be grateful for. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling so glad that Dad got through this. Overall, a huge takeaway that I have from this whole experience is how wonderfully supportive people are as a whole. Like all of the comments, all the prayers, the stories of people in your family who had the same surgery and are living life and thriving. And it was such a comfort to me, especially in the times where we were waiting and we wanted to hear an update and you're starting to get a little worried. And it's just like, it was amazing to be able to hear your support, read your support in messages over on Instagram. Just simply sitting there thinking about how much people care and how kind people are and how giving people are of themselves and their support that they can offer. Like it brought me to tears multiple times, and I just want you to know how valuable and what a wonderful gift it is to be able to be a comfort to someone else. And I'm just, you know, even though yesterday was a draining day, today's a day where this is where I want to funnel my energy. So thank you so much for being here, and I thought maybe I might talk about some things, talk about some makeup things that I have been thinking about lately, the lightweight coverage types of products. So the things that you put on, and they're often called like skin tints or tinted moisturizers, maybe even BB creams. And I've got 4 that I really, really like, but they're not identical to one another at all. They're all kind of different. And trying out the new Neutrogena Flawless Matte CC Cream, which I used in a recent video, using that kind of made me reevaluate all the other ones that I use. And this one, I'm going to talk about 4, by the way, and again, they're all kind of different. They got different characteristics. This one is called the Flawless Matte CC Cream Clear Coverage. It does have niacinamide in it. They call it a full coverage matte color correcting cream, and I am wearing that today, and I will also share below like the link to the actual application of this. But this is a beautiful product, and I used like today quite a bit less than I did in the application video, and it still covered extremely well. I am wearing a little bit of under eye concealer and a little concealer around the nose, but this is like really close to full coverage, and it's impressive because it's so thin. I think because of its thinness though, that's why I don't see a big like sort of mask-like matteness from this, because I do some pretty extensive skincare underneath this stuff. I have normal to dry skin, so I always think I benefit from a layer of moisturizer underneath. And when I put this on, I feel like I still see kind of a glow on the skin. Like what I've got overall on my face today, for example, like I set my T-zone in my under eye with some powder, and I don't even have highlighter on. I just have on kind of a glowy blush today. But this doesn't really mattify me, and I just want to put that out there because I think it is so thin that if you've got sort of a dewy moisturized texture underneath, this doesn't blank that out the way maybe certain full coverage, thicker, creamier foundations would. It's thin, but it's really nice coverage. Another thing to note about this, there's a really nice 34 shade range on this stuff, but my Target store in person only carried like a fraction of that. I want to say maybe 10 or 12 shades, maybe. And the lightest one that they had on hand was this Porcelain 2.0. This is the 3rd lightest shade overall. So just know if you look online to buy this, you will have a better range to choose from, but I think it's really good. And if you like the combo of lightweight plus coverage, it's really nice. Now, you might be thinking, but Em, I want the mattification. I really want an effect on my pores and a matte look. And for that, I think the Sugar Rush, this is that little sub line from Tarte, the Sugar Rush Skin Treat Poreless Tinted Moisturizer. This has SPF 20 in it. I wear it in light to medium. This is what you want if you're all about covering up pores and looking matte. This has a little more thick, moussey texture to it. And I mean, it doesn't feel heavy on the skin, but as opposed to this that's more thin and liquidy, this is more what I would have to describe as thicker and moussey, and it does break down into the skin really nicely. But it's like, I think I called this more of a modern day take on Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. It's coming out of a tube. It's definitely not quite as dry as that formula, but it really does do a number on pores like nothing else I've used, really. And it does have some good coverage. I would say it's close to as much coverage as this one, but this really gives you that matte and definitely poreless look. So it's something about the texture of this that is really working for that purpose. I'll link below to the application on it, but these two really great coverage products here. But if you struggle to find something that actually lessens the look of your pores, this is, I think, what you want to turn to. This Skin Treat stuff. It's really good, and I had discovered it through an article on Allure where this Allure editor was just raving on it. Now, in terms of the way these things stack up coverage-wise, this next one that I'm going to mention is, I would say, in the ballpark of these two. Maybe it looks like slightly less coverage, just a teeny bit, but it's really close. It would probably honestly come down to the amount applied. If you built it a little bit, you know, it could vary. It looks beautiful on the skin, and it's got a lot of high points. It's the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover, the full coverage protective makeup. It has SPF 50 in it, which goes beyond any of this stuff, and I wear it in 120 Classic Ivory. This does have a little more dewy look on the skin, like not over the top tacky dewy, a real natural fresh appearance, I would say, that goes beyond these two. That this one's definitely real matte, this one's like trying to be matte but doesn't quite get there. This one is more natural finish looking on the skin, but still coverage that's right up there in the ballpark of these two. And again, it has that sunscreen in it as well. I have quite a bit more history with this product than I do these other two, and I've really enjoyed this one. And I feel like it still does feel super light light on the skin. That's the overall thing about this stuff. This feels super light. This feels moussey and a little thicker, but yet very light. Don't get me wrong, this is light too. There are other things we could possibly bring into the conversation, like It Cosmetics CC cream or e.l.f. CC cream. Those products I actually feel a little more thickness out of, a little bit more of an actual traditional foundation-y vibe, whereas these things are all what I would classify as very lightweight feeling. And the last one I'm going to mention is for those of you who really aren't as interested in coverage, but you love a fresh, dewy look on the skin. And for that, I would say this Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. This is awesome, you guys. This has hyaluronic acid and squalane. It is oil-free. It says sheer to medium coverage. I think that's pretty on point because you can build it a little bit. I'm in the shade Light in this, and I always like the way my skin looks when I put this on. Even though I'm seeing through to a few more possible imperfections, you know, it does not cover as much as these, but it looks absolutely beautiful. Like the overall finish is really, really nice, and it gives you some hydration, some added hydration on top of, you know, any other moisturizer you might wear, but it works really well. It's very affordable, and I love it. I love that 3 out of these 4 are drugstore products. I get some light coverage out of it. It's still satisfying, but it's very casual, you know, like a real easy product to work with. So light, light, light feeling on the skin. That's why these 4 are coming into this conversation, and they're all ones that I really, really enjoy. Again, there are other CC cream products, or it might technically be called a BB cream or whatever it is. There's that whole category of things, but I'm looking for the ones that are really the lightest on the skin and the ones that I like the best. So these are my 4. They're all a little different from each other, but I think they should kind of suit anyone's preferences. I maybe could have also talked about the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector, although this is still different yet. This is kind of in its own little category of things that could also prime, and they're very illuminating. These I'm looking at all like purely base products. They don't have that additional function of possibly even highlighting on top of the skin. That's not what these are. So a little bit hard to define what I'm trying to do in this video, but I just wanted to give you that roundup. I would love to hear in the comments section your suggestions for anything that is like this that you really enjoy too. But I think it really needs to be outlined, because sometimes you lay your hands on a product that says tinted moisturizer and you put it on, you're like, where did it go? Did it do anything? Everything in this video definitely does something, and there really is a distinct difference between each one. So thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate you. Thanks for putting up with my little, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a rant at the start, but just my little talk. I don't know. Let's just move forward in life with sensitivity toward what everyone's dealing with. Let's give everyone the comfort and freedom to feel like they should just do what's best for them. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.